Off top, before the start of the 2001 NFL season, the Patriots had an over-under of 6. Their quarterback got injured, then they won the Super Bowl. Play music.
This is the Domonique Foxworth Show.
Welcome to the Domonique Foxworth Show. I'm Domonique Fox. I'm joined by Charlie Kravitz, and we back, baby.
I'm so excited.
I know.
I've missed being in studio so much.
It's great. We're back in studio. We got cool new graphics. Looks like we're ready for football season. I'm so excited. I watched a lot of the Dallas Cowboys documentary. I got one episode left. That's got me excited.
I've got 3 episodes left. It's so good.
It is so like I've been reading about how it's not all completely accurate and it's skewed, but it just reminds me a lot of The Last Dance, where it's like, I don't care, it's fun.
Well, I've read the Jeff Pearlman book.
Yeah,
like Boys Will Be Boys, and the thing they skipped over the most was the Steve Walsh part. Like they talked a little bit about Troy Aikman's
I think you should explain to Steve Walsh, because it's interesting, because they talked about a little bit where he was being pushed by Steve Berline, but it wasn't actually Berline.
So Troy Aikman was the number one overall pick in the draft by the Dallas Cowboys in 1988 after going 3-13, and he was seen as this generational quarterback prospect. He had transferred from Oklahoma to UCLA after being the number one recruit in the country. It was this huge thing. The Cowboys hired Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson's coming from the Miami dynasty. With the number one overall pick in the compensatory draft, they used that pick on Steve Walsh, who had been his quarterback at the University of Miami. And there were 2 years going back and forth where it wasn't clear who Jimmy Johnson wanted to be the starting quarterback, Troy Aikman or Steve Walsh. And that was like deeply explored as like the point of contention between Jimmy Johnson and Troy Aikman in the book Boys Will Be Boys. It was very much glossed over in the Cowboys documentary on Netflix.
Yeah, but the documentary is fun.
Yeah.
There was plenty of beef to be had, Jerry and Jimmy beef. Like, we were young. I mean, I was older than you.
Yeah.
But I remember so much of the football, but I do not remember as like the beef as much, because like I wasn't reading the newspaper every day or watching all the sports stuff. I just remember the games and the back and forth of the 49ers and the Cowboys. But it does feel like, to me, it reminds me a little bit of The Last Dance. But you know what it reminds me of more than anything is the NFL Films yearbooks. Yeah. I don't know if you remember this, but every morning on Saturday before my games, I would get up and turn on ESPN, and they would just play back-to-back NFL yearbooks, which were like 30-minute like 30-minute shows that did like mini documentaries of each team's season. And those used to be like,
they're the best.
Yeah, they were so much fun. The mythology of football and the entertainment and like that. I feel like we underappreciate how important that all that stuff was for young kids like us.
Do you have winners and losers from that documentary?
I mean, I feel like there are no real losers to me. It feels like the Jerry Jones, I think, he's obviously behind it. He's the big winner. It's like he comes out framed as like, there are bad things about him in there, but they're all redeemable.
And by the way, listeners, viewers, if you haven't watched this, you want to watch it and you want to come back and listen to this afterwards, pause this, skip forward about 5 minutes, and we're going to be going through the best and worst vibes from NFL training camps. So we're going to go through this a little bit. So your thoughts on Jerry Jones was the quote that was the most illuminating was, I'm guessing, was him saying his wife told him after firing Jimmy Johnson that you just can't be happy with things going well.
Yeah, that was illuminating. And I think generally overall, and because it's a reminder that it's this thing that we talk about here sometimes is like, everybody is not one thing. And it's a reminder that depending on your perspective, everybody's kind of a hero and everyone's kind of a victim. And they've obviously taken a perspective that makes Jerry Jones look flawed, but like his flaws are explainable. And the same was made for Barry Switzer, where it's like, very flawed, but his flaws are explainable. And the same for Jimmy Johnson, where it's like, he's ruthless and flawed in many ways, but it's justifiable in so many ways. And I think that's
Charles Haley.
Yeah, Charles Haley's the same thing. And I think that's the like underlining theme, and that's why I can like feel comfortable about celebrating this documentary that's largely hagiography, is because it does feel like the underlining theme in all of this is like, all of us are up a little bit.
I think they lean into that a lot.
What do you mean? Oh, that
they're all up a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I think they lean into it, but I think it's the reminder is like, I guess to me, and this is probably because of the prism I'm looking at it through, is like, everybody is flawed, but everybody is redeemable in this documentary, and no one is just like an out and out villain, which is a cool way to do a documentary. And at many points you're watching it and you're thinking like, man, this guy sucks.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, it's like, oh, but this terrible thing happened in his childhood and he's working through and he did so much to help these people. It's cool and surprising.
I will say, it's definitely tough for Charles Haley when you have Bill Romanowski being like, that's the craziest guy I've ever seen.
So I was watching that episode with my son and I bust out laughing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a joke line, but I was like, you don't know Bill Romanowski.
Guy's
like,
juiced to the gills.
Yeah.
Ended up leaving the NFL because he broke his teammate's face.
But you would say, because Bill Romanowski said that Charles Haley picks out a rookie and just tortures them.
Yeah.
And Bill Romanowski was the rookie that was tortured. And I guess
it explains a lot.
Yeah, like that. He thought that's how you were supposed to act. The Charles Haley, there's so many Charles Haley stories that they left out that you and I have both heard.
Yes.
An unusual amount of Charles Haley stories involve his genitals. Like is
that you've been in the locker rooms? Is it really that unusual?
I mean, I guess I've been in the locker room for over a long period of time.
There's definitely a weird naked guy in every locker room.
I can think of quite a few naked stories, but I guess what I don't have is one guy who all the naked stories are connected to. And so Charles Haley had a lot of, and also when he punched a trainer, that wasn't.
It's on the GM's desk.
Yeah, that falls in the first category.
Yeah,
was it the GM? Oh no, he tried to punch George Seifert, the head coach.
Yeah, he tried to punch.
Peed on the GM's desk.
Yeah.
I mean, Charles Haley, people out here making trade demands.
You could learn something.
Charles Haley, that man making serious. I don't give a damn about your social media or your letter, your open letter to the media about how you want to sever ties. Charles Haley will on the GM's desk. That is a trade demand.
It's
outrageous.
It's hilarious. I gotta say, I thought Michael Irvin comes off. He's just so. I mean, every time you hear him talk about the Miami stuff, the Cowboy stuff, he's just so cool. Does it change your opinion? I remember for the documentary, you said that he was not your style of receiver. When you saw the clips of him, how freakishly athletic he was.
Yeah, I apologize to Michael Irvin and his friends and family and all of Miami and Dallas. Like, yeah, Michael Irvin was awesome. I think what I remember so much because I wasn't as I didn't watch as much football then as I do now.
Yeah.
And there wasn't as much available and the angles and views weren't there. I remember big games, and not that Michael Irvin didn't play well in big games, but I also remember like, oh, Deion showed up and things changed.
And Emmett every time the Buffalo game where it's like, or not, I guess it was they talked about it was against the Giants.
Yeah, it was a
and he had a separated shoulder. Emmitt Smith. And this was always the thing. Like when you listen to people like our dad's age discuss the Barry Sanders, Emmitt Smith debate, like me and you could like never be like, it's not Barry Sanders. But then the old heads are always like, in a big game, you wanted Emmett. And they show him, he separates his shoulder. He's a grade 3 shoulder separation. So he's torn a bunch of stuff in it.
Yeah.
They put a knee pad on the side of his shoulder and then give him the ball 6 times in a row. He gets 61 yards and takes it in for a touchdown to win the game.
All because Troy Aikman was seeing stars?
He was so concussed he didn't know where he was. He didn't remember the game.
He was so concussed they didn't know where he was, but you know where he was? On the field playing quarterback. Like they were like, no, I know you can't see straight. Get out there, hand it to Emmett. Yeah. I remember, that Emmett Barry debate. Like I remember when I was a kid. And so my friend, one of my closest friends who ended up being quarterback on my high school football team my senior year, which we've talked about before, he was a Cowboys fan.
Yeah.
And so and my brother was a big Jerry Rice fan who was older than me. So I became a 49ers fan rooting against
That's what I did too
Cowboys.
At that age. Those are my first football memories.
And also it was compounded by the fact that it was Barry Sanders versus Emmitt Smith. And I was like, but Emmett has that O-line and Barry is so much better. So I just I don't hate the Cowboys now, but I just hated the Cowboys growing up.
That documentary made me like that Cowboys team, which is like crazy growing up as a Commanders football team, whatever, Washington fan. But no, my first football memories was I missed the early part of it, but it was the year that it was like wherever Deion went, you won a title because free agency started. Reggie White's the beginning part of it. But Deion Sanders goes to San Francisco from Atlanta. They win the Super Bowl. Steve Young does the thing where he's taking the monkey off his back. He wins the MVP. Deion wins Defensive Player of the Year. And then he signs with the Cowboys and plays both ways for the Cowboys. And they win the Super Bowl next year. And I remember them beating the dog out of Neil O'Donnell and the Steelers. And just hating that Cowboys team because I wanted the 49ers to beat them so badly.
I do remember that. And the free agency, and we had some shows about free agency, but free agency in the early days were like such an advantage for the teams that were willing to get involved in it.
Yeah.
Because like they would pass Ken Norton back and forth, the 49ers and the Cowboys. They'd pass Charles Haley back and forth, and they give them the upper hand. Then Dion goes from one to the other. And it's just all about free agency kind of telling the story of the championships and the dynasties of that era.
Which is so funny because I was it's also like players that great just hitting the open market. Like the concept of Dion and Reggie White, who like are still two of the 10 best non-quarterbacks to ever play in the NFL. And like not time period pieces. Like you could put Reggie White or Deion Sanders on an NFL field now, and they're like Reggie White's probably the best. Like
he's probably a tackle now, maybe.
Depends on the defense.
No, I mean he could play. I guess I think about Aaron Donald when I think of like Reggie White, and that might just be a body type thing. But I think
I think of JJ Watt.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Like, that's a fair point. Yeah, I think he could probably play anyway.
But like, and then Dion, like, can you imagine him now?
Yeah.
But even like the way that you could move him around a formation, the fact they throw the ball more, and like
what just jumped out to me watching this also was like the remedial nature of football.
Oh my God, I thought the same thing.
Every big play that Michael caught was a bang 8. Like,
that also
somebody cover the bang 8. Please.
Also, all of the down blocking because it wasn't zone blocking. Everything was a down blocking scheme. Occasionally, you'd have someone run trap or like and pull. But I was like,
ooh.
I was like, this is actually high school football. You actually just went man on man, beat the out of the defensive line, and your running back ran for 6 yards a pop.
Oh man. The NFL.
Also, we gotta get baggy crop top jerseys back. That made Michael Irvin look so sick.
Michael Irvin did look great in everything. Oh, him and the mink.
It's the coolest.
You haven't gotten to that episode yet. I'm sorry. I won't ruin it.
I've seen the photos.
Yeah, I know, but the way that they build up to the mink, it's pretty amazing. In the White House and all that craziness.
All right, should we talk some modern NFL? The vibes are immaculate on this show.
I know.
The vibes are immaculate in that documentary.
Ooh, transition.
Look at that. I just, not artful at all, but just very excited.
I liked it.
So what we're going to do on this episode is we're going to go through training camps and teams, and, you know, they're essentially what we're doing as a proxy is has our mind changed on things because the vibes, the way that they've been presented to us by beat reporters, what we've seen in preseason games, the snippets of practice footage we've seen. Are these good vibes or bad vibe situations? I'm not sure. We did a little prep call for this. I'm not sure I understand what vibes are.
You don't know what vibes are. You are confusing vibes with expectations. Vibes and expectations are different. Mm-hmm. Vibes can influence expectations, but I think vibes are different expectations. Vibes are like how things feel. Like it's more about trajectory, I think, than it is about expectations.
Yeah.
Did I define vibes well?
I think, I think vibes, you kind of just got to feel it in your plums.
Or your grapes.
Yeah. Or your raisins, depending on.
Nah, we don't do steroids.
Yet.
All right. Where's our first vibe check going to be?
Okay. We might get on a graphic. Vibe check.
You're an idiot.
It's Jaxson Dart and the New York Giants. How do you feel the vibes are for this?
I mean, I think that's an obvious one. It's a layup. The vibes are high, again, because vibes are this is where expectations, I do think, factor into vibes. Vibes are like how things feel relative to the expectations of how things feel. And I think we expected things to feel really gloomy, and Jaxson Dart looks as good as you can expect a young quarterback to look in the preseason. And Jameis Winston shows up.
Did you hear what he said about Tommy DeVito and Jaxson Dart?
Oh, the three amigos?
He said that they're seasoned white boys.
I mean, that's just Italian for DeVito, right?
Yeah.
And Jaxson Dart, I think because of like the proliferation of hip hop music and the access to the internet, I think most white boys now
have a little seasoning.
Yeah, like have you seen like young Arch Manning?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Arch Manning, he got a little bit more.
Well, he looks like Jaxson Dart.
I mean, I think just generally he gives off a little bit more New Orleans than you would expect from a Manning.
Did you see a couple Jaxson Dart things? So I agree with you. First of all, like we knew he had some physical ability. We knew like his running was one of the things, running and toughness. And some of the things we were most impressed with him coming out of college. The release looks great. He looks like he's going to be a positive risk taker. And obviously he might not even play for the first 10 weeks of the season because it's most likely to go from Russell Wilson to Jameis Winston to Jaxson Dart at some point.
Yeah, but I think that's wrong.
You think he's going to play sooner?
He's going to play sooner than 10.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think they'll go from Russell to Jameis.
Really?
I mean, assuming that the reason why they switch is because Russell isn't playing well.
Yeah.
I don't see the reason why you'd go to Jameis at that point. Like, Jameis to me seems like you didn't need Jameis if you had Russell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Jameis isn't going to be the long-term answer for anybody. But I'd be surprised if they decide to go from Russell to Jameis.
Yeah, he's the long-term answer for having Malik Neighbors win like the receiving yards title. Because if you put him in there, we're going to get some potential 200-yard games for him just on running 9 routes.
And there would be also a couple picks in there.
A lot of picks.
But it's going to be some big plays and some touchdowns.
So I will say the one thing for the Giants in general, and by the way, we should mention Abdul Carter, who's the first pick in this. Like, the clips of him, I know he got pancaked in preseason action where he got chipped, and like it's probably a welcome to the NFL moment seeing someone get, clipped by a tight end. He looks freakish on film. It looks exactly like when we watched him in the college football playoff.
Yep.
And we're like, all right, 3 plays, we're good.
I remember that. That conversation.
I texted you. I was like, we don't need to see anything else.
Turn it off. That guy is good. Yeah. I mean, I think that connected with the rest of that D line being really talented makes you feel more confident about that defense than you did before. And then if Jaxson Dart can show any promise going forward, I think that's why the vibes are high for that team, because they have some promising young talent.
I know that other podcasts, like the One on My Hat, Greenlight Podcast.
I forgot to get pissed off about that. I hate it.
We got to make better merch.
Our merch stinks, but still, you're making a statement. This is the second time that you showed up with a competing podcast on your head.
I have a few more of the shirts and hats.
Maybe a sister podcast. They're not competing. They're a brother pod.
Yeah.
I hate it.
I know you do. It's like that's part of why I'm wearing it. But he brought up the point about the Giants defensive line, about how it's sort of a misconception that NASCAR package is just having your 4 best pass rushers in it, that they're all defensive ends, and the fact that Dexter Lawrence is like borderline historic in his pressure rate from a nose, like being able to play like over the center too. Like they can have this really interesting NASCAR package where they have him and Thibodeau and Brian Burns and Carter out there together.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to seeing all that in action.
A couple other Jaxson Dart things. Did you see the video of him not knowing how easy passes work? He's just driving through the easy pass lane and accruing like hundreds of dollars in tickets because he's from he had been in the South and before that out west.
I mean, they don't have. I thought that
he got an easy pass now.
Okay, but I mean, I thought that every city. Well, I guess maybe not if you're in a college town in Mississippi.
Yeah.
But like every state has like their own. It's like Sun Pass in Miami. Yeah. Like it's not a novel concept.
Particularly the tri-state area of going from Jersey to New York to Pennsylvania. Like all of those. Yeah. Like there's like a million tolls and turnpikes and stuff like that.
What part of Cali is he from?
He's from Utah, but then he went to USC and then.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, I guess maybe they're not racking up money in Utah on the toll roads.
And his name is spelled Jaxson, which seems excessive.
Little redundant, but he got 2 O's in Domonique. So what can I say?
He's got a brother named Diesel Dart.
I've seen that. Yeah,
he's skyrocketing up the boards. Diesel Dart.
I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure that's better. Well, I mean, he's not a quarterback, right?
No.
Yeah, I was gonna say Jaxson.
Jaxson.
Did I tell you that
he's a DB? He's a white corner.
I know. I saw the highlights. I like Diesel Dart as a white corner name, but did I tell you that I think I pissed off Greeny at Get Up last week because we were doing a Giants game highlight and it was just one too many dart references for me. And
from dimes to darts.
Yeah, it was like
hit the bullseye.
Like, you better than that, Mike. It's just like, what are we doing here? And I was on with Bart Scott too, and Bart was like double 20 or whatever, like some dart terms, and I was like, I feel like we're better than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think Greeny appreciated my coaching. Maybe he doesn't need to be coached by me. He might be pretty good at it.
You got to hit him with the old school reference. You got a dart in your neck.
I don't know what reference that is.
Will Ferrell actually shoots himself with the trank gun, and Stifler's like, you got a dart in your neck, man. Yes, that was awesome.
So we do agree that the vibes are high.
Yeah.
And
last one, better name for a younger brother who's might be more athletic. Jaxson with two X's, who's a 4-star recruit in football and basketball, or Diesel Dart.
I'm trying to figure out why, but I like Jax better.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. I like Jaxson. I don't know. I think it's the I don't want to be insulting, but it's the
alliterative nature of Diesel Dart.
No, it's not the alliteration that I think makes it a second tier name as much as it's the literal nature of both names. It's like you can be a Dart or you can be a Diesel. Being Diesel Dart is like putting a hat on a hat to me.
Yeah.
And so like Jax is like a kind of a fancy name. Then you hit it with a little Dejeen on the back, which feels smooth. I think I like the combination. Diesel Dart feels like am I right? Wrong? I mean, it's cool, but it feels to me like it'll be a little cooler if you go eccentric and smooth, or smooth then eccentric. Hitting him with Diesel Dart is too much for me.
I mean, it all depends on how good he is.
That's for sure. That's for sure. That is for sure. If you're good, then the name is cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many ways you can go with both those names if the guys are awesome in college. Next one, vibe check. This is the Minnesota Vikings and JJ McCarthy. I promise these are not all going to be quarterbacks. A couple of the first ones are, but these ones are inextricably linked because it's the same thing where it's like you replace Sam Darnold on a team that won 14 games last year and had a really disappointing end to the season with Sam Darnold. They go with the quarterback of the future, JJ McCarthy. This is a incredible coaching staff, GM group, and now they have the young quarterback in place. And we've gotten weird things because you had the Diana Rossini and Colin Cowherd thing saying that all of the noise of the Vikings saying he's playing well is BS, and that they're doing that to protect him and they're giving like a false narrative. But then you see him play a little bit and he looks really good. So how do you think the vibes are with that situation?
This question is obviously we're using vibes to discuss it, but I think it's more literally like even more than the last question, more specifically about the quarterback, because we know everything else there is good. Mm-hmm. And the question is the quarterback better or worse than you expected? And I think I had lower expectations for him and they've started to elevate. And so I think the vibes there are really good. It's for a bit of a weird reason. You might make fun of it. So part of it is that he's playing well. McCarthy, we see him throw the ball and he looks good. And you hear reports out of some of the joint practices that things are good, but a major part of it for me is that Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah did a profile in Athletic. I know. All right.
No, explain this. This is a great point.
Walk with me. He is another one of those like super intellectual, analytical, statistical type GMs who's come from the Wall Street side of things and has been a little bit quiet. Like I remember he came in and kind of said, Kirk Cousins ain't our guy while he was still on the roster.
Yeah.
And
immediately said that. Yeah.
Which was like the last major news that he had made. And he's been quiet since then. He came out and did this profile, and some of this profile was about the misses in the draft. Mm-hmm. To me, choosing when you're not being forced to talk, choosing to talk for someone who's normally very quiet, to me, speaks to talking specifically about not being great in drafts. Mm-hmm. I think my guy's seeing something in camp and was like, let me get out ahead of this and make sure that you guys don't give all the credit to KOC. I want you also to know that I had something to do with this.
Yeah.
Is that crazy?
No, I think it's really interesting. It's like you know you're holding pocket aces.
Yeah.
It's one thing to be coy and not talk about this, but when you know you have hit this draft pick, which I know that people thought that if JJ McCarthy had stayed in school, obviously he had the knee injuries last year, that there's a chance he would have been the first pick above Cam Ward. I don't know if he has that type of physical ability, but like it's clear that they view him that way and they have more information than anyone. In the one game we saw of him his rookie year before he got hurt, he looked incredible.
Yeah.
So I think they might know what they have.
That's just me kind of reading between the lines because I don't think anyone says exactly what they are thinking in the preseason. But I think if you look into it a little bit, you can deduce some other points.
I mean, look,
it's a stretch, but
he's confident enough that he signed Carson Wentz as his QB2.
Carson Wentz is a great guy.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's interesting because you're right. This is choose your own adventure. You're guessing the vibes there because this is exactly what Cowherd and Rossini were talking about too, saying the organization is trying to instill confidence in him via the press. So that one's interesting. Got to ask you on the next one. The Commanders.
Mandos.
How do you feel the vibes are?
You're going to push back on me on this one because they're your Commandos. I think Bad vibes, the Mandos right now.
Because of Terry McLaurin?
Yeah, I think the Terry McLaurin stuff is it's hard to combat the general good feeling around an organization that has found a perennial all-pro level quarterback in Jaden Daniels. So, like, the vibes are going to start high. But that's why I said that the vibes are about expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the expectation going into this season for a team like this is like how the Texans were before last year, where it's through the roof. The sky's the limit. We're second year with a great quarterback. It can't get any better than that. But instead, we spent most of this offseason talking about how the most important weapon to the second quarterback cannot come to contract. So I think that impacts the vibes a lot. And the vibes, to me, feel a little down around this specific team.
I think it'll still get done. It has
So
to.
do you think the vibe, first of all, you're closing, because I think vibes are a lot about fan reaction.
I think the vibes are up and down. I think the vibes are erratic. The reason I say that is because like they played their one preseason game where the guys really played against the Bengals, and the offensive line, it's not like the Bengals defense are world beaters, but they mauled them, and Jaden Daniels looked incredible. And Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, Bill, as he's known, because he was bald as a kid. Bill Merritt is he's now basically installed as the starting running back since they traded Brian Robinson. Like certain things like that, like you come off of that game when you're mauling an NFL team and you look like it looks like Pee Wee football with the way they're able to move the ball, and you're like, these vibes are immaculate. We have Jaden Daniels, like this is wild. We have the best player in the conference, or best offensive player in the conference, and then the McLaurin stuff. It's just every day you hear either they're close to hammering out a deal or the relationship's too fractured. If they give up the ability to use Jaden Daniels' best weapon this season, like the vibes are going to be so depressing. It's gonna be like we're back. We're back to the way we always have been.
I went to their preseason game against the Ravens, and that might be impacting the way that I view this, because they just got utterly dominated. And of course, none of the starters, very few of the guys who'll be major contributors played, but like the Ravens just ran the ball over them and did whatever they wanted, had their way with them. And neither team was playing their like primary players, but it did not look like a team that was serious, which isn't fair. But I left that not feeling great about the Mandos, but we got some halftime flag football, which was fun.
No, I mean, I think it's, to me, it really comes down to McLaurin, and it's like the vibes with Jaden Daniels, if the season starts well again, like the vibes are going to be through the roof.
Baltimore. I mean, I know just going off of that game, the vibes there particularly felt fine, but it's weird because it's like they just feel neutral. It's like always good, right? Except for the one offseason when they were messing around with Lamar's contract. It like always kind of feels.
Can I give a vibes take on this?
All right.
So like the vibes for Baltimore, like they're gonna win 13 or 14 games. Like let's like put them to the side.
They have in January.
Yeah, right? They're one of the four best teams in the NFL, along with the Eagles, Bills, and Chiefs. Put them on the side. They're not being judged for this. The rest of the AFC North, which people have talked about as the best division in football, I think might be the worst vibes division in the entire league. Can I just go through this?
Yeah.
The Bengals have it seems like the organization and the players are constantly at odds. They haven't signed Trey Hendrickson. This is after protracted contract negotiations with Shamar Stewart. It happened last offseason with T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. The year before that with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow has tried to put pressure on the organization. That one feels like a mess. It feels like the coach could be out at any point. The Steelers, the team that goes 9-8 and overachieves every year. No one is excited to see geriatric Aaron Rodgers out there. The guy is just such a pain in the like legitimately, like even if you're a huge Steelers fan, you're like, oh, like sure, this probably raised our ceiling. Maybe we can go 12-5 this year. But like no one really believes it. No one's really excited about it. And then the Browns, they're the most toxic team, period. You can't even talk about them. Most of the story's been about Shador, who's the fourth string quarterback who made the team today. Like they have Deshaun Watson on the roster. They basically paid for compliance from Myles Garrett this offseason. Like the vibes are, the rest of the division, which was supposed to be one of the best divisions of football, are terrible.
I'm gonna need from you a division that has mostly good vibes, because we can't just smear an entire division. But I can't push back on your assessment of the AFC North. The only other, like the team that I would like to stop down on a little bit longer for that is like, yeah, you talked about the Steelers. I was with Brooke Pryor last week in New York for a little bit, and she was telling me how the fan base is not super excited about Aaron Rodgers. And also the thing about the expectations for the Steelers is it's not like when Aaron Rodgers went to the Jets and we were like, hey, just have a good season. It'd be nice. The Steelers' expectations is like, we have to win a playoff game. And I think that it's more than reasonable. Like, I'm one of the people that think that thinks that Aaron Rodgers will make the Steelers better. The problem is he going to make them better enough to beat Lamar, Josh, or Patrick?
No.
And that's where I think that's the reason why I think the fans of the Steelers and the way that the Steelers feel generally right now does not feel as positive, because it's not, are we going to be better than we were? Yeah, you probably will be better than you were. Is he going to be good enough to make us competitive at the top of the conference? And I have a harder time convincing myself of that.
Aaron Rodgers is obviously a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's one of the best players in the history of football. He has God level talent. He has Mahomes level, Josh Allen level talent. Obviously in his prime and his late prime when he was winning MVPs with Matt LaFleur, he was on one of the best organizations with one of the best coaches in the NFL and a really good roster. Much better than what he has in Pittsburgh, and he was still struggling in playoff games. Like, it's suddenly at 42 where Tom Brady's the only 42-year-old quarterback who's ever played a full season before. He's going to come back 2 years after the Achilles season surgery and play for Arthur Smith, where they're going to be fighting every week about whose offense is Arthur Smith's versus Aaron Rodgers, and it's just going to suddenly be fine in Pittsburgh. Like, it ain't happening.
All right, let's be positive.
Okay. The other division behind that, I'm going to take. This is the opposite, where there's one team that has pretty bad vibes, which is the Saints. The NFC South has immaculate vibes. People,
can there be another word for vibes being good other than immaculate?
No,
that's it.
No, that's just immaculate vibes in the NFC South, which is so funny because that's always the afterthought division of the NFC in a lot of ways. But like, Tampa's a stealth contender. Carolina, this is when I wanted to ask you. The vibe seems so good about people are so sold on the Bryce Young breakout after the last 2 games of the last season where he played pretty well down the stretch. And like, legitimately, I think Atlanta, like Penix and like, you know, they played so well down the stretch with him and Drake London and Bijan, and the defense should be improved with the 2 edge guys. That was I was at Falcons camp, and those guys were like, the edges should make a really big difference.
You're at Falcons camp with Chris Long. He also went to Magic City with Chris Long. I'm gonna lose you. It's fine. It's fine. I'll be in the market for a new co-host.
I don't know. You've taken me to Vegas and New Orleans. That beats Flowery Branch and Allen Park, Michigan.
Fair point. Yeah, you went to a bad.
I went to New York I went to New York every week with you.
Yeah, that's true. All right. I feel more confident about our relationship now. Yeah, I think it's fair to be a little trepidatious about how well Bryce Young is going to play with the Panthers now, considering that he doesn't have a great track record. But it's a lot of, I mean, I think you're going to use the word or the phrase confirmation bias, but it feels like confirmation bias implies that you're wrong about it because you're confirming something based on your preconceived notions, but the preconceived notions are based on a lot of talent. Mm-hmm. So like, if it took a second for things to work out, like I think that's a reason to be optimistic. He was the number 1 overall pick. So trying to like extrapolate based on some end of the year success that he's going to be a really good quarterback, I don't think it is as insane as it would be if it was like a later round pick or someone who was random.
Yeah.
So I mean, I get why it's so much. This is always, I know we want to pretend like we talk about other things other than quarterbacks, but so much of this is always based on how good is your quarterback.
Yeah. Well, and the situation around him for Bryce Young, which is, I mean, I still have trepidation because like I really like he looked. I don't think it's just us. Like I actually think if you had polled
too small, right,
coaches and GMs around the NFL midway through last season before Andy Dalton had the car accident and injured his thumb, I legitimately think that majority of the GMs and coaches would have been like, nah, like we don't want him in our 53.
Right.
Like, so like this is a huge swing. And so like to me, it's almost like I'm starting from a blank slate where I have no idea what to expect. But what I do know is that they built up the interior offensive line because as a short quarterback, they can't have pressure up the middle. So they have an oddly competent offensive line. What I do know is Dave Canales helped rehabilitate Geno Smith and Baker Mayfield, both of whom are like I mean, it's so hard to say if it's the chicken or the egg, but both of them have continued to have success after he's gone. So he was very helpful in that regard. And they drafted Tedero McMillan, who was not either of our favorite receiver in the draft because he's bigger, he's more of a glider type of guy. But the reports out of training camp, the vibes with him have been he's a player, and it's like one of the things you talk about where it slots everything down. Like Xavier Legette gets to be a number 2 receiver, T-Mac gets to be the X. They have the team makes a lot more sense now.
No, I mean, I feel good about it. I think the funny thing about the confirmation bias is that you have another confirmation bias in that with Bryce Young, you are staunchly opposed to low-end outliers.
Yeah.
Like, he's a smaller quarterback, and you expect that not to work.
Without freakish, not like Kyler, who has freakish tools. Like Kyler is like, first of all, Kyler's short, he's not small, which is a big difference. Yeah. But also, Kyler has a huge arm and his absurd throw from every angle. Yeah.
All right, I know there's one that you and I are going to disagree on.
Broncos vibes.
Yeah, that's the one that I thought was coming next. They feel like, I don't know who it is. There's always a team every year that feels like the hipster pick, and there's enough justification. And then there's what happens with that team is like someone will be like, hey, they're going to be better than you think. And then next thing you know, someone's like, hey, they're going to win the division. And then inevitably, in order to outtake the last taker, someone's like picking them for the Super Bowl. They are down that path with the Broncos.
Pissing me off. And that has nothing to do with their vibes. Their vibes seem great.
Yeah.
Like Sean Payton's a great coach. Like all of last year. The thing is, I'm a contrarian.
Yeah.
So last year when everyone was like, Bo Nix going in the first round, I was like, well, what if he's good?
Yeah. And now he's good.
Is good.
And you're like, hey, cool it, guys.
And he's like, slow your roll.
And that defense is going to be great. They doubled down by adding a corner. Like I think this is where so to be completely transparent with the audience, this is where we realize that we don't agree on the definition of vibes.
Yeah.
Because you were like, they're not going to be that good. And I'm like, that doesn't change the fact.
And by the way, I loved John A. Barron before the draft. He was also like one of the players when I looked at the tape, I was like, this guy can play safety. He can play the nickel. He's so versatile and athletic. It's illogical on my part.
No, this is the trap door of sports debating and arguing in general is that if someone goes, because I would agree with you, picking them to win or even get to the Super Bowl.
RJ Harvey's going like the 4th round of fantasy drafts.
I think that's going too far. And when you put yourself on the other side of that, it then feels like you don't like the team or the player that you're arguing against. You're just like trying to say delicately, hey, maybe you guys are in a take competition where you just have to outtake the last person. So you seem like you like this hipster team more than the other.
Well, it's also that all of the take people, all of these people, whether they're the tape bros or the Professor X's and O's. Someone tweeted that at us that it's not just the Professor X, it's Professor X's and O's when they think they can watch the tape.
Yeah, I like that. It's good. Professor X's and O's.
The DVOA and EPA computer guys. All of these people.
Cerebros.
Like last year, all of those people mocked me for being like, this Chiefs team is kind of smoke and mirrors. When they're like, they got Patrick Mahomes, it doesn't matter. And then like, now I'm the one being like, well, the Chiefs had a bad year. Now they can protect Patrick Mahomes. And they won 15 games last year. And now you're telling me that they can't win the division because of like RJ Harvey and Bo Nix?
Yeah.
Like
15 games and they gave away one.
Yeah.
To this Broncos team.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that the team that they?
Yeah.
The last game of the year.
But so like to me, it's like, I don't know. They're probably going to be very good. Their defense is spectacular.
I just would like to establish
this is, again, I don't understand vibes.
Yeah, I was going to say. And
vibes are great.
No one really does. So we're just making it up. But I think generally that the vibes around there are good right now. And that's evidenced by the fact that they keep getting picked higher and higher. They are, I was trying to, I guess the Texans were that team last year, which is not a good sign.
The positive vibes, like they clearly have positive vibes, but it's the glee that the football nerds are talking about them with, where to your point, they're one-upping all the takes.
Yeah,
that's annoying me and putting a dark cloud of vibes over my head.
We need a term for that. If somebody came up with Professor X's and O's, like they need to help us. What is that called when you keep trying to outtake the last person on the team? Because it's like it's only on specific teams and players where you're like, hey, this guy might be good, and then by like within a week or so, other people who like him have to like one up you, and eventually like, hey, this high school freshman is a future Hall of Famer. There's a name for that. We need to name it. Yeah. We should take it upon ourselves to name all the things that take place in sports media.
The other team like that, by the way, I don't even know what the vibes are, but maybe this is just the podcast I listen to. Like the Patriots, like, and I know if Travion Henderson has looked like awesome and explosive and had a ton of juice in camp, but like it's pissing me off how people are like pretending the Patriots are going to make the playoffs and Drake May's better than Jaden Daniels. He's not. Drake May's not better than him.
All right. I think you're right. Drake May.
He won one game.
He's not better than Jaden Daniels. But I think the offseason of Diggs, like he's still, it would appear.
I think I'm a Diggs guy now.
Yeah. Because you're ridiculous, man. I mean, I've always been a Diggs guy. He's a Terp. I've always been a Diggs guy. His offseason has been interesting, I guess.
Hilarious.
But you still see the tape, like those one-on-ones where he's just working people. Like he can still play, even coming off an injury.
I also I can't remember the exact, but he got interviewed at Patriots camp about the famous video of who would you not want to date your sister?
Yeah.
And
so for those who don't know, the Vikings did a social media thing where they walked around and asked everybody on the team, or a bunch of people on the team, who of your teammates would you not want to date your sister? And it was almost unanimous.
Yeah. They all said, oh my God, Diggs. And then, of course, there was him on a boat with some mysterious substance and a bunch of paramours. And I was like, they're probably right. But then they asked him about who from that video he would want to date his sister. And he was like, my sister's way too good for any of those guys. And then the interviewer was like, yeah, she's married to like a doctor. He's like, exactly. She's smart. Like those guys are all idiots. And I was like,
didn't he call him ugly too?
Yeah. In the video, they're like, would you want to date your sister? And he's like, you, because you're ugly. And I was like, that's hilarious. I think Diggs might just be the funniest guy in the league.
I'm a Diggs guy.
Yeah.
I hope he has a big season. It'll be fun. But then it might convince you, or might convince more people that Drake May is better than Jaden Daniels, which will drive you crazy.
And it's like I wanted the Commanders to draft Drake May at the time, but like I got eyes, buddy.
Is there anybody else you want to hit?
Oh, I got last one.
Okay.
Last one. What do you think the vibes are for the Rams right now?
That's a bad vibe place.
Yeah, because they were the team that I think most people thought were the number one competition for the Eagles in the NFC. And Matt Stafford was in that hyperbaric chamber. He's now back to practice and apparently throwing without restrictions, but like they signed Devontae Adams. They have Puka Nacua, who's healthy. In theory, they've hit on every single draft pick since the F them picks era. Like every single one they've hit on. But it seems like the vibes are weird because if they have Stafford,
it's just about like 17 games and then the playoffs.
Yeah,
I would feel different if at week 8 Matt Stafford's back started hurting. I think the concerning part is we ain't even played no games yet. And he's up there in age. Like, that's the part that worries me is, like, how high will their seed be and will they make the playoffs if Matt misses some games? And will he even be healthy for the playoffs? And I think that shifts the expectations for this team and the way that anybody feels about it.
Yeah, they've got Jimmy Garoppolo and Stetson Bennett behind them.
That ain't it.
Yeah.
That ain't it.
And Devontae Adams literally got out of Vegas to get away from Jimmy Garoppolo, which would be kind of hilarious.
Yeah. Vegas.
He said, I think Devontae Adams' exact quote was like, he's going to get me killed.
Yeah, that's a bad quote as to be back partnered up with that guy. But maybe Stetson Bennett can ball. Anyway.
Yep.
Well, the vibes are good here. I'm so excited for the start of the season.
Same.
It's going to be so much fun.
Same.
And the start of school. I'm really excited about the start of school. Like the end of summer for parents, especially with kids around the age of my kids, that like they're not old enough to work, but they're a little too old for camp. And the last couple of weeks before you go back to school, it's just too busy and too annoying. Anyway, I love them. They need to learn. Thank you, Charlie. Thanks to the great people who produced this podcast or show. I love you, Podville. We out. I haven't been in the studio so long, so I forgot how to close out.
This is the Domonique Foxworth Show.